Yo internet, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're working on a bow tie. Let me tell you what we got going on today with this little gal. Mission to align this beautiful beast, as you can see. C5 Vette with WiseFab in the front, stock rear, no dog boxes, just dogs, and has, I believe, silver coilovers on it, recommended by not me. And as you can see, that is as tall as it gets. So customer didn't know any better. I discovered that you need like a stock length strut because WiseFab has a drop knuckle. So let me show you what we're gonna put on these instead of those silvers. None other than some BC coilovers. So I'm gonna get this thing up in the air and install the coilovers, set ride height, and align it. So install seems pretty straightforward. This is actually part of this brand coilover. The stock and the BCs go through their own stud. I'm guessing this coilover fits on other models that they make, and then they just adapt to that. So yeah, got the wheels off all four. Should be a pretty easy swap, and then we can get to the meat and potatoes of aligning it. So I didn't realize that whoever put the coilovers in never took out this leaf spring. So I got the leaf spring out, and wouldn't recommend how I did it, but it's out. I'm okay. We'll leave it at that. I'm gonna get this back in the air, get these coils out, and get the BCs in there. And in about 10 minutes, we get the front bushings, because the BCs didn't come with that, and the silvers have this little D pop. So we're moving on. All right. Pretty straightforward how to get these BCs in here. Put the bottom bolt and the top bolts. Trick is you gotta just unbolt the top controller mount so this whole thing can swing out, otherwise you can't get it out. You probably get the stock one out, but not a whole coilover. So moving on, we'll do the rear one, and then we'll move on to the front. All right, I had to take a little break last night. It's getting late, and I gotta get this thing finished before leaving to Long Beach today, so we're back in the morning. I did align the rear, got it to like -0.5 degree camber and 1/8 inch toe in. Easy peasy, it was practically there because of the stock stuff, but I always like to eyeball the toe before getting into the front stuff, and fortunately the tie rod seems to be bottoming out. And these aren't like totally in by any means, so the track width is pretty big, I would say. I don't know, without the fenders it's hard to say. Wish they gave it to me, but so I've had to do this on like Z kits. I can't remember if it was WiseFab or not, but I'm gonna take the tie rod out, but I'm gonna mark the inner here so I know how far it was in here. If it was like, I'll know exactly when I thread it out, but then I'll know kind of where it was when I put it back together, because I'm pretty sure it bottomed out because it turned fine, but then it didn't, and it pretty much stopped. So I'm just gonna take it off the knuckle and then thread it all the way out and see where it's at. This thing was bottomed out, so I'm gonna just chop out probably a 1/2 inch maximum to get enough adjustment on these. The tie rod's trimmed. I did a base check of the camber. This side was -7, that side was -6. My guy Wout Young, who is a big advocate for WiseFab, suggested -3.5 degrees camber and 6 degrees caster. So we're gonna now measure caster. So I measured how much the camber changed under droop. It was only 1/2 degree, so I'm gonna keep that in mind when I'm using my caster camber gauge and get this thing dialed in. So I didn't install this kit, but I won't say who did. Doesn't matter, but it wasn't installed ideally. There's little stoppers in these double turnbuckles, Had to take out the bolts, readjust those because this thing couldn't adjust. Had over 12 degrees of caster, and like I said, -7 degrees of camber. Just by putting those things in the arms more. I just started out flush, good pace line. I'm at, with droop, -1.5 degrees. And so it'll probably be -2-ish. Probably, yeah, it was actually, anyway. But the caster got to, as you can see in the bubble, 7.5 degrees. So in order to get more camber, more negative camber and a little less caster, you're gonna adjust one of those. So if I want less caster, I'm gonna move the wheel this way, get less caster. But I'll get more camber if I just adjust this one out. It'll move the wheel out and that way. More camber, more negative camber, a little less caster. And I get to do it all over on the other side. After doing what I said I had to do, camber and caster right where the recommended settings are. I'm gonna double check the camber once it's on the ground, and then I'm just gonna adjust toe. I have a knack for eyeing these up pretty close, so let's see what happens. If my eye isn't as good as it used to, there's about an inch toe in, so we'll be able to dial that out. And I did have to trim the tie rods twice because when I pushed those the adjusters in the arms, the wheelbase got narrower and ran out of room there again. So I actually ended up taking about a 1/2 inch total, but about a 1/4 inch each cut. So that ended up being perfect. And since they have to go out, I know I won't run into them bottoming out. And since we took a lot of camber out of it, we're at perfectly -3.5 degrees as per recommendation. The car actually raised up again, which is fine because this thing was on its nuts. So seemed out of tow, and I would love to take it for a rip, but it's got a pretty lucrative power steering leak that I got just, car's back on the ground, got to 1/8 inch toe out. Thing's ready to rip. This is actually this guy's first drift car, so he's older, and it'll be interesting to see how he rips. I told him if he came to me first with the advice, then the people who installed the kit probably would just put a set of knuckles on here and let it rip. But that's all learning. We're all learning. I got to learn on a new chassis and play with it. I did like WiseFab adjustability. That was fun to play with, and got to help a new drifter. So that's it for this round of the channels. So next time, I'm not sure what we'll be working on, but you be sure to like and subscribe if you like the content, and we'll see you next time.